Is your government making plans to keep the supermarket shelves stocked, as your Brexit secretary said yesterday?
It's not a question of stockpiling, but let me take you, Andy, to what we are doing as a government. What we've done is we've put a plan forward for a deal with the European Union for the future. Now that plan delivers on what people voted for, brings an end to free movement, brings an end to the jurisdiction of the European Court here in the UK, means we won't be sending vast sums of money every year to the EU, and we can spend that money on priorities like the National Health Service, but it also protects jobs. But of course we're in a negotiation with the European Union. So we've put that plan forward, and we believe we can negotiate a good deal for people here in the UK. But we need to prepare for all eventualities, and that means we're stepping up our planning should it be the case that we end up without a deal.
And does that planning involve, for instance, making plans to ensure that the supermarket stocks stay shelved, as your government minister said yesterday?
Well, as the Minister said yesterday, it's not about stockpiling, but let me give you an example of a concrete thing that we've done that is important for no deal. We've passed legislation here in Parliament that means that lorries from the European Union that are currently bringing goods, bringing produce and so forth over to the UK, in the event of no deal, would still be able to do that. They'd still be able to operate here in the UK. That's the sensible sort of planning, the sensible preparations that I think most people want us to do. So I believe we can get a good deal. We're working to get a good deal. We're working to get a deal that delivers on the vote that people gave to leave the European Union, but does so by protecting jobs here in the UK. But we're preparing for everything.
We will talk about your deal. I just want to go back to the idea of preparing for no deal. Your health secretary said yesterday you are stockpiling medicines and blood products. This is alarming to people at home. First of all, are you doing that? And what do you say to people who are going to say, I'm getting worried by this sort of preparation?
Oh, well, far from being worried about preparations that we're making, I would say that people should take reassurance and comfort from the fact that the government is saying we're in a negotiation, we're working for a good deal. I believe we can get a good deal, but actually it's right that we say, because we don't know what the outcome is going to be, we think it's going to be a good one, we're working for a good one, but let's prepare for every eventuality.
So the government is stockpiling medicines and blood products. Can we have an answer to that? The government is doing that.
Look, this is not just about stockpiling. That concept, what it is about making sure that we'll be able to continue to do the things that are necessary once we've left the European Union, if we leave without a deal. Now, I think people should take reassurance from the fact that this is a government that's saying, you know what, we're going to be responsible about this, we're going to be sensible about this, but while we're doing that, we're going to work for a really good deal that's in the interest of people living here in the UK.
Now, to get that deal, do you accept you'll have to make concessions on your Chequers plan?
No. We've put a plan forward. What we've done is we've put a whole plan forward that is about ensuring we deliver on what people voted for. So we will bring an end to free movement. What does that mean? At the moment, we can set rules for people migrating here, coming here from outside the European Union. We can't set those rules for people coming from inside the European Union. In the future, we'll be able to do that as well. So we'll be able to set those rules ourselves. We will decide who can come here to the United Kingdom.
But this is going to be a negotiation. But this is going to be a negotiation. You accept that with the other side, with the EU. Do you accept then there will have to be further concessions on your Chequers plan? Do you accept that?
It is going to be a negotiation, but what I'm setting out for you, Andy, are the things that are non-negotiable. The things that we're very clear that people voted on that we will deliver. An end to free movement. Being able to set rules for people coming here from inside the European Union, just as we can for people from outside the EU. Bringing an end to the vast amounts of money being sent to the EU every year. And we've already said we'll be spending some of that money on our National Health Service. And bringing an end to the jurisdiction of the court of the European Court here in the UK, and other things as well. You know, our farmers will be coming out of the Common Agricultural Policy, be able to set a policy that works for our farmers. For our fishermen, it's really important we come out of the Common Fisheries Policy so we can take control of our waters. Those are what we will be delivering with our plan.
And that is all non-negotiable?
That's non-negotiable. What we are doing is put forward a plan that sets what we want to deliver on the vote of the British people, but does so in a way that protects jobs. Because what we still want to be able to do, we still want to be able to trade, we still want to be able to sell our goods to people in Europe and for them to be able to sell their goods to us. And we're doing that in a way that protects jobs here in the UK.
I just want to ask you about immigration, an extremely important issue which you touched on already. Are you prepared to have a preferential status for people coming from the EU after Brexit compared to people coming from other countries? Is that part of your plan for the future?
No, I think what's happened here is there's a section in the plan that we've put forward that we agreed at Chequers, which is about what's called mobility. Now, what's that about? It's about things like making sure that people are still going to be able to travel easily for holidays on the continent and people coming here for our tourist trade. It's about people who are perhaps providing services, maybe somebody who's sold a product so a country, somebody in a country in Europe being able to service that product and travel to do that. But those are the sort of arrangements that actually in any trade deal we do with people around the world, we would put in. So we wouldn't be putting preferential arrangements in the European trade deal that we wouldn't consider putting in for trade deals with others.
So after Brexit and the implementation period, if there is one, someone coming from France would have no more rights to work and settle in this country than someone coming from India?
We will be able to set our own rules for people from inside the European Union. The automatic
But that's
rights,
what people think, that you're preparing to have a sort of preferential deal for people coming from the EU. You could rule that out now,
no,
or is that part of your plan?
What people have been concerned about is the sort of automatic rights that people currently have, this free movement idea, that people currently have that automatic right to come here to look for work, for example, from the European Union. What we do for people outside the European Union is we put a set of rules for people wanting to come here from outside the European Union. What we'll be able to do in the future is set those rules for people coming from inside the European Union. So what we're doing, just to be clear, because we haven't set those rules yet, what we're doing is we're getting some independent advice on what's important for the British economy, and we will ensure that we look across at the rules that we set for immigration, but we're going to be able to do it for everybody in future and not just for people outside the EU.
So you will have the power to do it, but that means you could set up a preferential status for people coming from the EU. You're not ruling that out.
Yeah.
I put it to you could rule it out.
What I'm saying is that, well, the way I look at it, I think the sensible way to approach these things is to actually say, let's take some independent advice on these issues, let's look at that, and then we'll come forward. And that's exactly what the government will do. So we've got an independent body, Migration Advisory Committee, looking at this. We will come forward with our proposals. What we want to do is to ensure that just as at the moment we set rules for people coming from outside the European Union, we will set rules for people from inside the European Union in the future. And just, if you think about it, Andy, I spent 6 years as Home Secretary. A lot of the time when I was Home Secretary, I was actually taking action to remove abuses from our immigration system, to make sure that we did tighten up on the controls of our immigration system. So I'm not going to be looking to be easing controls. I want to make sure that we can take back control of our borders.
Do you see Brexit as a means of reducing immigration further?
I see Brexit as, fundamentally, I see Brexit as an opportunity for the UK.
But in terms of immigration, do you see it as a means of reducing immigration?
Fundamentally, Brexit is an opportunity for the UK. It's an opportunity for us to actually do trade deals around the world, so carry on trading well with Europe, but bring more jobs to the UK, bring prosperity to the UK through other trade deals as well. What it does on immigration is it means we take back control of our borders.
Now,
so that's what this is about. It's about taking back control of our borders, so we make the decisions.
On your Chequers plan, you lost a couple of senior cabinet ministers who felt you'd gone too far. You'd made too many concessions there. It was not the Brexit people had voted for. What do you say to those people who say you've gone too far, you've made too many concessions, you're betraying the Brexit vote?
When people voted to leave the European Union, I think they voted to make sure that we brought an end to free movement, so we did take control of our borders. I think they wanted us to take control of our money by not sending vast annual sums to the European Union. I think they wanted us to take control of our laws by ending the jurisdiction of the European Court here in the UK. Those are non-negotiable. Those are in the Chequers plan. That is what we will deliver. What we will do is ensure through the Chequers plan that as we deliver those non-negotiable items, we're also protecting jobs and livelihoods here in the UK. Because I think it's in everybody's interest to make sure we can still do business with Europe, but we can also get great deals on business around the rest of the world.
But people will be looking at this and saying, will I be poorer our viewers will be saying, will I be poorer as a result of Brexit? Will the pound in my pocket not go as far? Next year, if I want to book a holiday, will I have to settle for going somewhere closer to home when I wanted to go further? They're worried about the economic impact. Can you assure them, reassure them, that they won't be poorer as a result of Britain leaving the EU?
As I said a couple of minutes ago, I think Brexit is a huge opportunity for the United Kingdom. I think it's a huge opportunity because it gives us the ability not just to do our own trade deals, to do trade deal with the European Union. The Chequers Plan, part of that's about the trade deal with the European Union. But actually, it enables us to be free of Brussels deciding trade deals with the rest of the world and being able to do it in our national interest. And what I want to see is us being able to use Brexit to deliver that greater opportunity for people's futures. But actually, in terms of what people are worried about on a day-to-day basis, it's not just about Brexit, it's about what the government's doing elsewhere. It's about ensuring our NHS has a 10-year plan with more money, significantly more money going into it. It's about ensuring we're building more homes so that young people have a real feeling that they're going to be able to get a home of their own. It's about ensuring that our schools and education system is equipping, is skilling our young people to take on the jobs of the future. That's the opportunity we've got, that's what the government is delivering.
Are you a committed Brexiteer now?
I am committed to delivering Brexit for the British people, and I'm committed to delivering Brexit in a way that ensures we can take the opportunities of Brexit and build a better future for this country and for people living in this country.
Have you been convinced by the arguments over the last year, or are you just having to make the best of a bad job now?
No, it's about seeing the opportunities that Brexit gives us. People voted. We had a people's vote, and people voted to leave the European Union. I and my government are now delivering on that vote. As we do it, I want to do it in a way that protects jobs and livelihoods here, but also increases the opportunities for this country, increases our opportunities for bringing more jobs, more highly skilled jobs, more highly paid jobs to the UK. That's the freedom that Brexit gives us.
Prime Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you.